Hello, Malma Angeles. We are moving to the next stage of the pandemic. As the world resets to the new normal, we find ourselves seeking the right balance between health and livelihood, constantly adjusting the boundaries between liberty and responsibility. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. And now we would like to welcome the Honorable Mayor of Lower Hutt in New Zealand, Mayor Campbell Barry. Good afternoon from Manila, Mayor.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on.
And thank you for this interview. First of all, we would like to congratulate New Zealanders for being successful in defeating the coronavirus. Yesterday, you recorded no new cases or deaths from COVID-19 for the second day in a row. And you are now in Alert Level 3. What measures are currently in place to combat the spread of the coronavirus or COVID-19 over there?
Yeah, so I think the actions of the government in tackling this early has been really crucial to stopping the spread and combating COVID-19. So, my hat certainly goes off to the actions of the Prime Minister and the government in doing that and going hard and obviously doing a significant amount of testing to understand where we're at. I wouldn't say we've won yet. We know that countries around the world have seen a drop in numbers, but later on have seen an increase. So we are really conscious that while we're in a very enviable position and we're doing well, we've still got some way to go before we can be confident that we've defeated COVID-19.
We hear that testing is key in controlling the spread of the coronavirus. How available is COVID-19 testing in Lower Hutt?
Yeah, so we have testing right across the city here in Lower Hutt. We have mobile camper vans that go around to communities that are less likely to be able to access some of the medical centres where you'd traditionally be able to get it. And also we're focusing on making sure we get good testing from Māori and Pacifica communities to make sure that we understand if there's been any spread whatsoever there. For us, we haven't seen a new case since April the 5th. Which is a really positive sign. But again, we know that one person with COVID-19 who may not know they have it does risk a spread out there, and the restrictions that are in place now are important, so we can get on top of it. But of course, now we've got to start thinking about how we balance that with being able to reopen our local economy and our country to be able to make sure that we don't lose too many jobs and the economy gets working again.
I understand that there is the primary phase you were talking about it, of tackling the coronavirus, and that is through primary care and other pandemic infection, prevention control measures. The transfer and infection must be controlled, but there's also a parallel complication in dealing with the even bigger economic crisis to follow. And how is the New Zealand government, specifically Lower Hutt, planning for the next phase of this problem? Those whose jobs and businesses that were affected, especially there in Lower Hutt, how are they being addressed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we're looking now to be heading towards level 2. So we've got a 4-level system, and that will enable us to open up a significant part of our local economy and mean that businesses can start working again. We know that as a local council, working alongside the government, infrastructure projects are going to be absolutely vital in leading us out of any type of recession. So we want to make sure that we get on with projects like we've got one called a Nine-Eye Pool, which is a $55 million aquatic centre. We want to make sure that those types of projects are part of any recovery and helping us get out of a recession, supporting jobs and also supporting other local businesses as well.
In response to the coronavirus, sir, the coronavirus emergency, you announced that you would donate 10% of your salary over the next 12 months to local community groups and charities there. Is this true, sir?
Yeah, so for me, it was an important gesture to make. We know that people right across our city and communities are struggling, and many of them have lost incomes, and business people who are really, really doing it tough. So for me, I'm in a fortunate position to be able to do that, and I think it's an important gesture in showing that, while that's a very small amount versus what some other people are facing, it does acknowledge the issue, and I think it gives us the ability to then make some more difficult decisions that will be coming before us as well as political leaders.
Mm-hmm. Now that most countries are reopening, what is the criteria of Lower Hutt for reopening its economy, and what risk do you think will need managing?
Yeah, so as we head to level 2, we'll take our guidance from central government, and they're going to be announcing tomorrow what a level 2 looks like. So we're going to be working quite closely with them and making sure that we're working with the rest of the region. We know that there also may be a regional approach, so certain sections of the country may move into a different level depending on what their specific circumstances are. So we're waiting to see what direction comes from central government in that space, but we certainly want to be able to get us local services up and running and enable businesses to operate as best as they possibly can and safely as soon as possible.
Lower Hutt has a population of nearly 109,000. How many Filipinos are there in your city, and are they composed mostly of highly skilled overseas workers? I heard many are in public and health sectors as well. Many have migrated and become part of the Wellington community. How have they been helping out during this time of the pandemic?
Absolutely, and that's a really good question. And we've got around 1,000 here in Lower Hutt, and I've actually spoken to a few of them now, probably about 5 or 6, and a number of them are part of the essential workforce who are working in our hospitals, in particular in healthcare. And my hat really goes off to them and the efforts that they've been making as part of the team of 5 million that we have here in New Zealand. But I'm really proud that they have been part of that response and supporting those who are doing it tough here in our community. And they play a really big role. And I'm really lucky to be the mayor of a city that has such a strong Filipino presence, and it's something we can be really proud of.
Please tell me a little bit about your family and how you're coping with the current situation. You're the youngest mayor ever elected in New Zealand. How young are you, sir, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so I'm 28, so the youngest to be elected to a city, and yeah, a little bit unique, but I certainly feel a lot older over the last few months, and it feels like I've been in this position for a bit longer given everything that's going on, and I know I've got a few more grey hairs as well. So that might make me look a bit older. But yeah, my family, we're very lucky. We've got a bit of land where we are and some animals and quite a bit of space to be able to, go into our rooms and do our work. So yeah, quite lucky. But it's been also a good time, I suppose, to be able to spend more time with them. And I know that's the same for a lot of people here in Lower Hutt, New Zealand and the world, that one of the silver linings is to be able to unite back with family, and actually that's probably a big part of everyday life that sometimes we take for granted, and I think it's come to the forefront here.
And finally, sir, I don't want to take up much of your time. What do you hope people will take away from this experience?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we can take away, and I hope we take away, is the importance of community and the importance of working together. That's something which often in our busy daily lives, when we're focused on going to work, paying the bills, just getting the basics done, knowing the importance of being involved in your local community and supporting others. And I think it shows that when we work together as a city, a country, and as a world with a common cause, we can move mountains. So I hope that how we've worked in tackling this, and while we're certainly not there yet, we've made really good progress. We can translate that to other issues that we face right across the globe.
Thank you very much, and good luck out there, Mayor. Take care, look out for each other's health, stay healthy and alert. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. Great to be on.
ASEAN in Focus, we'll be right back.
Magtatagumpay tayo, salamat. Kung mag-fail tayo, salamat. Ang importante po, sinubukan natin, ginawa natin yung makakaya natin.
Napatunayan ko na yung talent na binigay sa akin ng Diyos, mas may expose pa. Kaya sa mga ibang artist dyan, lalo na sa mga may kapansanan din, mag-explore pa tayo ng ibang bagay tulad nito. Huwag tayong magtago, huwag tayong mahihiya. Gawin natin kung ano yung gusto talaga nating gawin.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutri-Chunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies nyo. Listo ganado sa Nutri-Chunks. Co-presented by Hubert, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Hubert, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint. Color for protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer. Saisho International Trading Corporation. DN Steel. EMAC UPVC Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. We are honored to have with us today Consul General Henry Bensurto Jr. from the Philippine Consulate in San Francisco, USA. Welcome to the program, Congen, and thank you for joining us today.
Well, hi, Alma, and thank you for having me in your program. Hello to all your listeners.
Yes, and I'm sure marami pong gustong makaalam kumusta na po ang ating Filipino community over there in the Bay Area, in San Francisco po.
Here in San Francisco, like anybody else who's in this situation, we're all adjusting fine, I think. So the Filipino community, I think, is adjusting to its new environment and its new normal. So far, we're doing well. And I think, relatively speaking, in comparison with other states, I think we're doing well here in California as a whole, especially San Francisco, I think, in relative terms.
Can you describe to us what measures are in place right now over there in San Francisco po? Are there, I think they're already easing some restrictions po, ano?
Indeed, yes. Well, of course, we still have the shelter in place. I think in other parts you call it lockdown, but here we call it shelter in place. So that has been here for some time, and it has been extended up to the end of the month of May. But as we go through, because our cases of COVID infection here is small compared to what we're seeing in New York and other parts. I think there's a gradual easing of the restrictions, including allowing people to now slowly go out, not just the essential workers for essential works, but people to come out and enjoy the sun, especially that the weather is improving here. They've closed down some streets to allow people to walk and relax. And I think that's a good thing because many people have been experiencing cabin fever. No? So I think the timing is just right, but it's also not abrupt because we're not out of the woods yet. Although I mentioned that our cases here are relatively small, yet there are still cases happening. And so government realizing that they're not lifting the restrictions in haste. No? So it's a gradual, systematic, methodical easing of restrictions, and I think that's good.
So you're starting to reopen the economy unti-unti po, no? But what challenges or problems did you encounter, if any, sa ating Filipino community po?
Well, foremost in our mind, our initial concern as we started with the shelter in place, obviously, are the vulnerable segments of our community. By that, I refer to the senior citizens of ours, the elders, because not only are they vulnerable to the virus, but many of them live by themselves actually. And so they need people to talk with. They also need food to nourish their body. So we're very glad that there were some community groups who practiced the Filipino bayanihan. And I think it's a good opportunity for me to express that gratitude to those community organizations that took the risk to reach out to these elders. And so to make sure that they're able to eat daily. And that for these senior segments of our community to feel that they're not alone. So that's one. Another concern, we know for a fact that the Filipino nurses and those in the healthcare industry constitutes a large portion of that nurses. No?
Yes.
And so we can assume that a large portion of our Filipino workers in the healthcare industry are exposed. So we've been praying for that, and we've seen some cases of Filipino nurses dying in the process. Many of them, I think, in the East Coast, not so much here in the West Coast, maybe because in relative terms, the number of COVID cases here is much smaller than what we're seeing in the East Coast. But be that as it may, these are not just numbers. No? Even a one single person, we're talking of life. But on the whole, I think we're doing well compared to the East Coast. So we're monitoring that very carefully, praying for them. These are the frontliners. I mentioned I mentioned the nurses, but we also have to mention the other frontliners, those working in the markets to make sure that we have food to serve on our tables. No? And some of our kababayans work there in the supermarkets, in the transport industry. So we're also concerned about that. So we continue to monitor. But other than that, I think we also have to take care of the psychology of our community. You know? We cannot downgrade or underestimate the psychological impact of this shelter in place. Being alone sometimes in the house you experience cabin fever, and so that may drive you quote unquote crazy sometimes. And so we're also monitoring that, and so we encourage now people to get together, not necessarily physically, but to make use of platforms like what you're using right now. No, you're global. You have the ability to reach out in a global way because of these social media platforms, the technology that's available.
Yes.
So in a sense, technology has assumed a greater significance now. No? It really has allowed, in a very literal way, enabling people to connect with each other. And so now we're encouraging people to make use of the technology to reach out and get together with their friends. So in the consulate, we're also promoting that. So we have hosted some activities, very light activities, not too heavy, like Zumba, for example.
Yes.
I didn't appreciate Zumba before, but now I think it's very good. And so using Zoom, we're able to get together with people. So now we're meeting new friends through the social media. Not only are we meeting people, we're able to help ourselves psychologically, mentally, and physically strong. And I think that's what we want to emphasize, that even if there's not much activity outside of the house or physically, it is still an opportunity for us to convert our situation into something positive. We have to grow inside. And that's what we're trying to emphasize, that at the end of this shelter in place, we should come out stronger mentally and in terms of new skills, and should be able to make use of this opportunity to grow into the inside. In terms of our spiritual life, our family life. So obviously there are many downsides to our situation right now, but at the same time, they provide us opportunities. It creates new doors, new possibilities for us. So now we're able to have the ability to get together more with our family, appreciate more our family, and so it also allowed us to go deeper inside, and so questions that we have avoided for a long time because we're so busy with so many things. Now we're asking ourselves fundamental questions about life, how vulnerable life is, and teaches us to appreciate people, the environment, and so these are things that I think we should take advantage. And it's also a new opportunity for us to sort of say hi to those people we have neglected for a long time. So I think we should not let this extraordinary circumstance that we're experiencing now pass without us growing. We can do that.
So our Filipino community there, they must be, since you're extending all this help, what other aids are you extending to our Filipino community there? What about our migrant workers over there?
Thank you for that question, Alma, because we really exist for that. I think that's the essence of our presence here in San Francisco, is to help our kababayan. And that kababayan actually falls into different categories. Those who are citizens who are here on a visit. So some of them got stranded, and some of them are still stranded for various reasons. Lack of airline flights. They were working on a temporary contractual basis. Suddenly, their contracts were severed because of the pandemic. So they got stranded. So these are the people that we see now. So we try to extend help to the best that we can Obviously, our resources are not enough, and so we use this opportunity to now partner with community organizations. Our reach is also very limited because the U.S. and my jurisdiction, for one, is so wide. I don't only cover San Francisco, but I cover 9 other states. Something like 1.2, 1.3 million Filipinos are under my jurisdiction, for example. So that extends all the way to Alaska, to the north, and to the east, Utah, Colorado. So we're also monitoring that. Obviously, because of our limited resources and lack of human resources as well, and the wide area that we cover, we have to, there is a gap, obviously, in terms of delivering those services. So to fill that gap, we have to reach out and partner with local community organizations. And we're very grateful with our partners. I'd like to cite for one, NAFA. NAFA has been a good partner of ours, and they have a wide coverage as well. So we partner with organizations like these to be able to provide those services to those kababayan of ours who need help. We're also obviously concerned about those sea workers who were deeply affected by the pandemic. Most of our sea-based workers work in cruise lines, and so because of the pandemic, many of them are now unemployed. Many of them need to go home and need to be repatriated. So in the case of San Francisco, for example, you must have heard of a cruise line called Grand Princess. Sometime in March, we have something like more than 500 Filipino workers there. And so when there was a case of COVID inside the cruise ship, they went back to San Francisco, and the immediate concern was how to take care of those more than 500 Filipino crew members of the cruise line. And so we're able to repatriate 444 Filipinos middle of March, and we're very, very grateful in terms of the cooperation that we receive from the governments here in California. And also, I'd like to mention also how fast our government back home also in terms of responding. So we have situations like that, Los Angeles and other consulates, Washington, D.C. So in Florida, we know that is a hub for many cruise lines there. And so this is also one aspect by which we're able to extend help to our kababayan.
Well, sir, you have to take care of yourself for our kababayans there. Do you have any last message for everybody watching you right now in this crisis, and to the Filipino community who are looking to you for help?
To our kababayan here, we, especially our frontliners, we want them to know that we always keep them in mind, and we always keep them in our prayers. We know the risk that they take every day in terms of helping fellow human beings. It doesn't matter what the citizenship is or the color, but our Filipino kababayans do what they do best in terms of providing those care to people in the hospital, in the nursing home. So we keep them in mind, and we pray for them. We also would like to extend our prayers to our Filipino colleagues back home in the archipelago. I know you guys there also are in the same situation, and we know that people are having a hard time because this is a major disruption in terms of our daily lives. And we pray and we keep you in mind, and don't lose hope. This will pass. This will pass, and make use of this opportunity to grow inside. Make use of this opportunity to learn new skills, to be bonded once more with your family, with your friends, with your community. And whenever you can, please extend that help to your fellow human being.
You mentioned the frontliners. About 20% of the registered nurses in California are Filipinos, and that's why you're extending your help to them. There's also a campaign called Filipinos Feed the Frontliners over there.
Yeah.
I just
yes,
one of the
indeed.
activities, yeah.
You know what is so good? Well, not so good, but I think when there are challenges like these, it brings out also the best of humanity.
Yes.
And we're seeing a lot of our kababayan take the challenge,
Yes.
taking the risk. And so we're very happy to see that that many organizations have come out taking the risk to extend that help. So the frontliners is supported by another set of frontliners, now providing them food, providing them PPEs. So it created that network, sort of. But it's not enough because we still have the virus, so we should continue that spirit. No? But I think at the end of this pandemic, that is one good sign that we will see the good of humanity and the good of the community.
That's
and
true.
we will be better. We will come out as
Better.
better people, as better Filipinos, more compassionate and kind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for all that input, and thank you for that information. Please be strong and stay healthy for our kababayans there. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay kayo, Conjen.
Thank you, Alma. You too. Take care of yourself. You're doing a lot of service for many of our kababayans. So you too should stay healthy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mabuhay din kayo.
Mabuhay po.
Take care. Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye, sir. Thank you. ASEAN in Focus will be right back.
Hello there. Imagine Dami got the virus, and she infected 2 more. And those 2 infected a lot more of people. And it goes on and on until it became an epidemic. But what if Dami stayed at home? Then those 2 wouldn't have contracted the virus. Then those people would have not been infected. This is not just your battle, it's everyone's, and you can be a huge help. Follow social distancing, or better yet, stay at home.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced, eagle news, because we live in interesting times.
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus, and we would like to welcome to our program. Joining us live from Malaysia is the Honorable Attorney Johnson G. Cañete, the Labor Attaché, the Philippine Overseas Labor Office in Kuala Lumpur. Welcome to the program, sir.
Yes, thank you very much for allowing us to be here, covered in your program also. Thank you.
Ayan. Sir, syempre maraming gustong makaalam kung how are our OFWs there in Malaysia during this lockdown, and can you tell us a bit more about how Malaysia is right now?
Okay, just last Monday, May 4, some of the economic sector are allowed to open because of the conditional control movement order of the Prime Minister. So some restaurants, some eateries, some are already open for business, but still observing the social distancing and the protocols for standard operating procedure, which is continue to wear your mask, continue to observe the social distancing, and of course, when you eat, they still have to have distance from each other. In paying, there's also observance of the social distancing, and soon the civil servants, the public offices in Malaysia, including our embassy as well as our labor office and our welfare office, will resume. I think it will be on May 13. We will start already, but we were already posting an advisory for an online appointment. They cannot just get inside them. See if they were not able to get an embassy.
So this is part of new normal measures natin, sir, dyan po sa Malaysia.
Yes. And when they get inside at the gate, the guards will take their temperature, thermal temperature, and nobody should get inside without the mask. There will be sanitizers, hand sanitizers that will be provided, and there will only be a number of clients in an hour. That's why they have to have an online appointment because of that limited transactions and number of people to be entertained at a time.
So, sir, can you update us on the DOLE's ACAP one-time cash assistance for OFWs there in Malaysia? Marami pong gustong makaalam po nito.
Yeah, as of the moment, when we closed the accepting of applications, we have a total of 6,031 applications received in Polo, Malaysia. And because of that, we closed it sometime April 20 so that we will have enough time to evaluate this application. As of yesterday, we have evaluated more or less 4,175 applications out of the 6,000 plus application. Of these 4,000, we have approved around 1,366 applications, and we have denied more or less 1,000 of them. We have also referred some of our applicants to the OWA, to Overseas Workers Welfare Administration. Some also applied even if they are not allowed to apply because they are either tourists, holder of social visit pass, they are undocumented. So some are also referred to our assistance to national under the program of the embassy.
So, paano po yun yung hindi pa po nakakakuha? Can they still claim?
As of the moment, ang pagbayad po natin sa ating mga approved applications is through banks. So we send it through banks. Yan nga ang one of the deterrents natin when we have approved, but we will not immediately also be able to pay them because first we need to call them and ask for their bank accounts.
Okay.
And some of our workers don't have bank accounts. They either also ask either their boss or their neighbors or friends that we will use their bank account, and we will also see to it that it is they are really they know each other. It might be difficult when we have sent it already and it's not given to the right person. So these are some of the challenges. Another challenge is sometimes the bank has also a maximum limit per day of how much will be transferred to another bank. So more or less, as of the 1,366 approved, we have more or less also paid more or less around 800 plus of our approved applicants. Because once they get an approval, we send them emails or we call them that they are approved, and then they also send back what are their bank account numbers so that we can send it through banks. Because you know, here in Malaysia, even money transfers are not yet available. They are not yet open. So we really need to go to banking transactions.
Medyo ano po nga pala. So ano po mga nakikita niyo yung problema po ng ating mga OFW po dyan sa ngayon po?
The normal thing is, ang may problema talaga usual natin na problema, yung mga undocumented OFWs natin. Because mostly kasi ng ating mga OFWs in Malaysia, around 80 to 90% are domestic workers. So when we say domestic workers, if they are documented, we don't have much of a problem with them during the COVID-19 pandemic and during the MCO, the Movement Control Order, because they are supposed to be in the houses, in the residences of their boss. So, we don't have a problem with them. Doon po tayo magka-problema kung talagang hindi sila documented and they are having a stay out, they are not in the houses of their employers, so they are not made to go to report because of the MCO. So, yun po ang nagka-problema. And mostly, naghahanap ng pagkain, mga basic goods. So, good that our Filipino community here is very strong. We have the Federation of Filipino Associations in Malaysia, whom we make as our arm for the distribution of goods. And the distribution of goods, relief goods here also, food packages, is also very strict. It has to go to the approval of the National Security Council. So what FFAM, the Federation of Filipino Associations in Malaysia, is doing, they send it through Grab so that it will reach the OFW that needs the food relief.
Okay. So, sir, so yung mga activities po natin dyan, ano, yung Filipino community, medyo madami din po pala. So, they're aiding our Filipino community there. Are there any other activities that the Consular or the Polo has for them para po paano po yung mga nawalan ng trabaho, paano po yung mga OFWs natin dyan na ngayon po wala pong makunan ng aid po. How else are we helping them po?
Actually, we have the assistance to national in the Philippine Embassy, and attached to it is also our social welfare attaché. They are also using that platform to assist our undocumented. Very clear ang delineation ng ating roles dito sa Malaysia. When it comes to documented workers, it will be Polo and OWA who will be handling them. And when it comes to undocumented workers, it is the embassy as well as the social welfare attaché. In fact, the embassy has already sent 2 flights back to the Philippines, sending our OFWs as well as our Filipinos who are stranded, who just have visited here and they were stranded because of the MCO. The embassy was already able to send 2 flights back to the Philippines. The last one was in April 28. The first one was sometime in April 5. So, and I think you have covered that also.
And sir, kumusta naman po kayo? How are you adjusting to the new normal over there sa work po ninyo?
Another new normal for us is tumaas yung mga bird namin dito. Hindi na kami nakapag-shave. And then we work from home. We just call each other from the staff. Call each other kung anong mga concern, because especially in this time of the ACAP, of the relief assistance, we need our 4 evaluators are in the respective houses. The assistant labor attaché is in charge of the sending through the banks, is also in another unit. I am also in the other unit. So it's really, the challenge really is to how to coordinate with each other these transactions that we are doing, assisting more or less 6,000 applicants for our OFWs here in Malaysia.
Ayan, mabuti naman po. At so dire-diretso po, ano po, kahit po lockdown, dire-diretso po ang trabaho nyo dyan. Work from home.
Yes, even our welfare officer, when there are conciliation, mediation, when we really have helpers. One time we have a helper who ran away from the employer, but where will she go? So what the welfare officer will do is to have a teleconference between the employer and the worker, so that they will be able to have a conference, and they will able settlement of the problem between the household service worker and the employer. So tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang trabaho. Kailang it's all work from home.
Okay. So sir, maraming nanonood po sa inyo ngayon. Meron po ba kayong mensahe sa amin at sa mga nanonood po ngayon sa inyo?
As I have said, mostly po sa ating mga kababayan dito ay mga house help, no? mga household service worker. Isang challenge ngayon is because of the conditional control movement order, some are asking that can they be allowed to go out already during day off. Still, we wanted to make an advisory that it is much better to stay first at the homes of their employers, because they are never sure that when they go out to enjoy their day off, they will not be affected by the COVID. So let's just first have more patience that our day off will just continue to be sheltered in the homes of their employers. And for those who are still out there, we still have to continue protecting ourselves, because it is still important to be safe, even if there is already economic activities that is ongoing and allowed here in Malaysia.
Ayan. Alright, maraming salamat sa inyo, sir. And please stay healthy for our kababayans there. And thank you for taking care of them.
Kayo rin dyan.
Maraming salamat po for your time and this interview, for granting this interview.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you also. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And that is the latest in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Alma Angeles, and we live in interesting times.